Well, don't pay attention to them. All right, I'm having some issues with. Stop sharing. That's why. Hi, everyone. It's Kristi.
Total fuck up from the start. Yes.
Classic Kristi and Kevin. Happy hour. Welcome, everyone. I am Kristi, and this is my co-host, Heavenly Kevin. Say hello, Heavenly Kevin.
Well, I am. By the way, it did hurt when I fell, so you know.
Wait. Oh, right. When you fell to Earth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing your own pickup lines. This is great.
He said, "Well, exactly. Well, I'm the only person that will come on to me, so it's that's the way it has to
No. All right. Right. We're doing a show, aren't we? We're not just sitting here talking nonsense. So yeah, guys.
No. Hang on. I thought that was the show. I thought that was the whole point of our show.
The banter.
Exactly.
That's what people tune in for.
Yeah, I got some feedback from last time with people going 20 fucking minutes of ranting shit before you even get to the video, dickhead. And I said, I'll put the fucking timestamp in the thing, in the description.
Quit your gun. And I didn't even put it like all the shit you should skip if you want to get straight to the video. I just put the timestamp and then you just right into it. So tonight we're going to do the same. We're going to waffle on for about 20 minutes and then finally get around to talking about Nicole.
but the difference being this time is that it's actually proper procrastination to try and avoid having to watch this utter piece of fucking
That is true.
bilge.
That is true. Especially because in preparation for the show, I've just watched an hour's worth of reaction. So I've seen it about 7 times in the last hour.
Well, we've had a very contrasting day because you've been watching that and I've been watching the House of Lords debate the EU withdrawal bill. So, I mean...
Different kinds of pain.
Fun times. I mean, I don't know why we both do just take heroin overdoses instead. It would be less depressing, frankly. Jesus.
All right, so I'm gonna move on. Moving right on. Doing no illusions.
Anyway.
Not touching that.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Stop making me laugh, damn you. I guys, if you've been on my channel, you're here again. You might be have noticed, I should say. I've done 2 videos on Nicole Arbour, which is 2 more than I've ever wanted to do in my lifetime. But it was a topic that I thought was important, and so I made the video. And Kevin popped up with a message. He says, you seem to want to talk about Nicole Arbour. Should we do a happy hour? And I did think
it was
so tired.
The first video about the actual your reaction to the video, I thought, okay, she's got it out of her system. And the second video about the quote unquote clarification, I just thought, yeah, Kristi needs to get this shit off her chest. Let's just
break it down. Yes, and also this gives me a chance to hear your take, Kevin. So,
Well, I just hazard a guess as to what you think I think of this video.
I almost wish you wouldn't have watched it just so we could do a proper reaction video. But before we get
because 10 minutes of me screaming "Shut up, you stupid bitch" that's not good entertainment. I don't think anyone's going to enjoy that. So it's good that I got that reaction out of my system already, and now I can just mock her instead.
And we'd probably have complaints of misogyny as well, when the letters from the public section comes up, which we've never done. Probably a good idea we've never done that.
Well, yeah, but that's always going to happen. That's always going to happen. Like, apparently, as feminists, we're not allowed to you can't have a go at a woman. Yeah, you can. Push can.
Now, before we get into the pain, I'm trying to kind of put it off. I've got the pub quiz question for the week, and you don't know it. I'm wondering if you do. I know. I'm sure you don't, because I didn't tell you what it was before we went on air. And you also have to watch the chat. So we need to read out the question and then have a bit of banter. And then we'll give the chat a chance to see if they can catch it. So, brought to you by paulspubquiz.com. Who've never asked to be advertised, but I feel like I should give them credit.
And I'm also not sure they would want their company associated with this, to be honest. Like, I can't see this being really like sponsorable material.
No, it's like, if anything, we're going to get a cease and desist letter. That's more likely. All right, so the question for tonight is, the name of which kind of cat stems from a word for a type of striped silk?
Oh, I'm going to go with a silly answer and say tabby. I don't know.
You're right.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
All the times you give bullshit answers, and this time probably lightning struck.
I don't know.
Instead of winning the lottery, you got Tabby right. Congratulations.
Oh, that was such a silly answer. I was thinking it's going to be like Persian or civet or something, you know, something that actually is like a weird foreign name or something. But
it comes from striped silk taffeta, and it actually has an explanation. This is how great this website is. So the English term tabby comes from a translation of the French for striped silk taffeta, which derives from the French tabis, meaning a rich watered silk, in turn from Middle French atabis, from the Arabic term, which I can't pronounce, and then it goes on for like another 15 lines. So I'm not going to read all that because we have pain to be getting on with, but there you go. One time, the first time that Kevin Logan has actually got the pub quiz question right.
Yeah, well, okay. Someone mentioned blue whale, which
nice reference to QI. Yes,
QI reference.
Very well done. Very well done in the chat.
What's his name? Fucking Jonathan Creek.
Alan Davis.
Alan Davis. Yeah, used to answer blue whale to everything, and then eventually it was blue whale, but he didn't answer blue whale
at that one question. Yes.
Yeah, which is genius. But anyway, yeah. Sorry, go on.
Right.
Let's watch this. Yeah. Okay. Well, we should probably explain then that Nicole Arbour, who is an atrocious person, isn't she? She did the Dear Fat People video and the Dear Feminists video and the Dear Trans People video. Oh, God. Foul. And, of course, a domestic abuser, as was revealed by Matthew Santoro, her ex-boyfriend. So she's just all-round a foul person. And she decided to do a... It's not a parody. I don't even know what it is. Just a complete rip-off, a theft of This Is America by Childish Gambino, which we covered in the last episode of this series. And so it might be fun to see her video version of that, which I don't want to poison the well for you, but I'm sure you'll agree, because you'd have to be crazy not to. This is poisonous. I mean, this is such cringy shit.
At this point, I think I'm just going to be laughing out loud at it. And I'll also convey some of the reactions I've seen from other people. There are maybe about 7 reaction videos on YouTube right now, so they're not difficult to find, and I would recommend watching them. They're all pretty good, and people have really interesting takes. But yeah, I think I'm just going to be laughing at sort of on like the room level of watching something that's you have to laugh at because it's so bad, right? And very quickly, just to remind people, so normally, this isn't, I guess this is kind of for me like a moment in time, because after a moment of transition, as it were, I did step up when things with Black Lives Matter got going. I guess within my channel, like in about a year, there was a moment where there's a lot of activism, and I put out a video talking about their political goals. And I do try to be mindful of racial issues, and I do retweet things, and I don't do a lot of stuff on my channel. Is what I'm trying to say. And in this case, probably if it hadn't been This Is America, it probably would have passed me by. But this piece of art really spoke to me. And when I saw what she'd done with it, and I had just read a post from a friend of mine on Facebook complaining about how some white women react to hearing discussions or stories of racism with, well, I'm oppressed too. I can understand where you're coming from because these things happen to me. And these two things happen within like 24 hours of each other. And I felt like I needed to say something, because it shouldn't always have to be African Americans or Black people, or wherever you come from in terms of your ethnicity. It shouldn't always be your job to call that stuff out. As white people, we need to call it out. And I feel like I raise awareness on Twitter and on Facebook, but I don't feel like I do enough to actually give voice to it. So that's a really long-winded way of saying. That's why I made these response videos.
Yeah, I can understand that perfectly, because I think the way you've explained that distilled it in my mind. The word I'm looking for is desecration. That's what she's done to this piece of art. And by all means, if you can do like a parody, like I thought to myself, I would have been less bothered if it'd been like a conservative person doing like a parody of that video, but from like their perspective. Even if they were saying hideous things and they were saying like, oh, Black people aren't really that oppressed, at least that would be an actual attempt at response. That would be an actual parody of the thing. and that would be at least artistically worthwhile, even if it would be horrific and so fucking wrong. But it would at least be an actual piece of art in of itself. Whereas this is, like I say, this is desecration. That you might as well have wiped your backside with it, frankly.
Yeah, and say that you were trying to, do something new with it.
Well, I'm sure we'll get onto her, her clarification in a little bit, but that's Ugh.
All right, so let's see. I have to do the thing where I share the screen, but we don't want screen inception. So let me just set this up. We did a sound test before we went on air, so all of this should be fine.
Which you saw the end of, I believe, at the start of this video,
Yes.
because you are dealing here with one of the high-end productions on YouTube. That's all I'm saying.
It only takes more than a PhD to be able to run a YouTube Hangout.
And if I'm ever able to host fucking Hangouts on my channel ever again, it will get even worse. So look forward to that. If I ever get to host a second edition of it, because I've still only hosted one fucking episode of this series.
We've been on since December, haven't we?
Yeah. Because
we used to run Krautgate was when all this kicked off.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I've had strikes on my channel for so long. I only had like a fortnight where I didn't have a strike on my channel, and then I got another one. So I'm waiting. There we go.
So it's been for all of 2018. You've had it in total so far 2 weeks where you weren't banned from. That's ridiculous.
Indeed, and if you add in the time from last year, it's probably only been about a third of the time in the last 18 months that I've not had a strike on my channel. To the point where obviously they took it down for about 3 months. Jesus. Anyway,
well, it's time to face the pain, Kevin.
Should we hold hands? I think that's the only way to do it.
Oh, I need my banky. All right, here we go.
Also, I think. Sorry, just I know I don't know.
Stop it.
Well, that's the thing. But the thing is, the more we stop, the more it's going to go on. It's going to last forever. But I think it's worth mentioning that she's Canadian, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So when she says this is America, I'm not sure she understands what that is, even from a woman's perspective. Because I assure you, having like universal healthcare gives you very different, medical issues than it does in America, where poor women are, well, left to rot, frankly. So I'm not even sure she can even say this is America because she doesn't know that.
Well, she does redefine it to North America, not all of the world or all of Americas or anything like that, just North America.
Well, yeah, but again, like I say, even that's disingenuous because the experience of Canadian women will be different, especially to American women of color, let's say, or gay women or whatever. Yeah.
All right.
That's the thing. I've in the first 6 seconds of this, I've already put more thought into that than she did for the entire process. So
it was. I don't. Okay. All right. Let's just go. Band-Aid being ripped.
I feel this is more like a pubic waxing than a Band-Aid, to be honest. That's what it feels like.
Or like very, very hairy leg or underarm. That would be incredibly painful.
Yeah. Or a back sack and crack. Fuck it. Let's just go whole hog.
Stop interrupting. We have to get through this.
Very obviously a doll, but never mind.
Right. A lot of people are saying, but it's true. A lot of people I've listened to do reactions can't decide if she's being serious or this is a parody. And that's actually part of the problem. She doesn't seem to know what she wants it to be. So how are we supposed to figure out what it means?
Well, I think she's clearly trying to make it serious, but she clearly, the way she haphazardly throws out the issues, she clearly doesn't care, and she isn't a feminist anyway. She's made that clear from the Dear Feminists video. She's fucking gobshite, and it's the co-opting. It's basically saying no, shut up, black man. You've had your say now. I'm going to do this and just speak over you, basically.
I don't know. I think that the video seemed to really not be able to decide. So for instance, she has these serious issues that she's addressing in the lyrics and symbolically occasionally through the dancers, but her demeanor is not an exaggeration of like a beauty queen, which would be a commentary on one of the issues she touches on. The thing about when she's dancing against the cheerleaders, she's doing ridiculous, like it just looks like she's making it up, and she looks crazy. Like, not crazy. It's just it doesn't match at all what's supposed to be going on.
Well, yeah, but that's because we're comparing it to the original video, which was well thought out and well executed.
right.
Whereas this is just basically someone who desperately wants to be famous and can only do controversial nonsense and isn't really capable of anything like the levels of depth and introspection and frankly fucking intelligence of the original video.
Right. Well, I'm just kind of pointing out that when people say they can't figure out whether or not it's parody or comedy or serious, I totally understand that because of the mixed messages that visually she's sending. So, and we'll see some of that in her dancing right now. I have no idea what those lyrics are. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't work out whether it was pray or rain.
Yeah, or pretty.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. I don't know what's going on there.
All right.
What's in her back pocket? I just realised that there's something bulky in her back.
The mobile, the cell phone that she's going to take the picture with at the
okay, there we go.
Of this bit before she starts.
Which is, I mean, that is possibly for me one of the most offensive elements of this video is that moment. We'll get to it in a second. Go on.
Okay. Get a mammy ho. Did she say get a mammy ho? Like, as in get a mammogram, you ho? Was that it? That's something we're supposed to hear a lot?
No, it's give my mama ho. She's asking someone to buy her mother a prostitute. Clearly, that's what's being said there.
Like, I think. I don't think. No, I don't think that's right. No, but I mean.
Well, you tell me, because to me it sounds like give my mama ho.
All right, it's your interpretation. I think she's saying get a mammogram ho, but she changed it to mammy in order to, I don't know.
But it's crudely expressed, but it's actually just good medical advice. That's just a solid piece of medical advice there.
Misogynistic medical advice.
Well, exactly, yeah, exactly. Imagine Roofies was your doctor. Oh God. Oh Jesus.
Oh no. God.
That makes it so much worse.
Malpractice suits all from day one.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Now I've got all kinds of bad images in my head.
Yeah. Get a pap smear, bitch. Like it's just
yeah.
Okay.
There you go. More misogyny, but also being helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
Cancels each other out, you know?
Yeah.
Morally neutral.
Yeah.
All right. You have to stop delaying, Kristi. Come on, get on with this.
Why we even trying? Don't deserve a raise.
Like, what is the nose thing?
I don't know. I think she's just trying to mimic. Like, obviously, in the original, Donald Glover as Childish Gambino is doing kind of exaggerated dance moves. Like he's incredibly rhythmic and all the rest of it. Whereas she's doing a kind of really cringy white person version of that. If that makes sense. I think that's what she's trying to aim at. But I mean, she's not very funny, creative, original, or like I say, intelligent. So it's just. Like at one point she starts doing the fucking Macarena, and I wanted to shoot the world. I wanted to get the Death Star and do to Earth what was done to Alderaan. Just wipe it out. Humanity was a fucking mistake. Anyway.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways you could put commentary into this, including how you dressed, and as the original did. But she just seems to want to be making a light of it. Not
exactly. Well, it's a Macarena. That's the thing. Like I say, the Macarena, putting the Macarena in this. Oh, it's yeah.
All right, let's get it over with.
You're essentially mocking the killing of black people or whatever, and it's just that might not be the intention, but that's what it is. And I just fuck you, Nicole. Jesus.
Live a life this way. We just want to be pretty.
There we go.
Pretty, that's the goal. We just want to smile. Get a mammy ho.
I think she's saying get a mammy ho.
I do.
What? Oh, geez. Yeah. That's the thing. I've just come up with an idea of a video series about a misogynist doctor who does stuff like that. Get a mammy ho. Yeah. Don't forget to get your bollocks checked, you prick.
just as he's walking down the street.
Yeah.
All right. So apparently this is her Rosie the Riveter pose.
Yes, which and the fact that she takes the picture of the and you've replaced the killing of a human being, however symbolic that may have been, of something else. In the original, it's a man shooting another man in the head, and you've replaced it with a really weak attempt at kind of, I don't even know, some sort of white feminism thing, and taking a picture of a breastfeeding woman. It's just, like I say, it's just grossly offensive, to use an oft-used phrase nowadays. Oh, I just have, but at what point did anyone around not go, Nicole, this is fucking dreadful. We can't put this out. This is appalling.
A lot of people have also said that.
Yeah.
Is there no one to pull her aside and just
Well,
say,
it's like, you know when you see someone really, really shabbily dressed in public and you think that person clearly doesn't have anyone who loves them, and take them aside and just go, look, you can't go out in public looking like this. This is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would expect people to tell me. And this is the video equivalent of that. Someone who actually loved her, who's close to her, would go, come on, Nicole, this is unacceptable. This is fucking appalling. Come on now.
All right, so moving on.
Presumably the only people she has around her are fake as shit like she is, so they're just interested in the money and the fame. And that's what, I mean, this kind of trash will get you that, you know?
If you operate within certain bubbles and people don't see the problems that everybody else outside the bubble sees, that's a problem.
The thing is, well, yeah, but there are, I don't want to have a go at the black people in the video, but it just makes you think, well, clearly they must see what's wrong with all of this. Shouldn't they? I don't know. Maybe they're in the bubble as well. I don't know.
I know, job's a job sometimes, especially like she's in LA, isn't she? Or was at some point?
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
like I say, I don't have a go. It's because the black people are not the problem here.
No.
It's just I'm just trying to work out the mentality of any of the people involved here, and not why none of them just went, this is appalling.
Yeah, someone with an equal or a higher level of authority, like her agent, someone should have screened this.
Yeah, and just gone, Nicole, I mean, you've put out some cancerous shit, but you've taken it to a new level. You've not just offended one section of society. This is just anyway. Let's try and get through this, because
because we have so much to get.
Because I'm seriously, I'm thinking about getting a Mammo Ho. So let's just get through this.
Go.
This is America. Don't catch you climbing up. Don't catch you climbing up. Cause don't get you slipping up.
What? Just
I've heard that was supposed to be an allusion to climbing up the ladder and breaking a glass ceiling or something. But
slipping isn't breaking.
Yeah, oh no. Again, always with the caveat of this is shit. So just roll with the.
Okay, all right. Sorry, you're not defending it.
No, absolutely. But I didn't really realize the first time I watched this because I was so incensed. But she's sort of doing a weird, almost black accent as well when she's singing that bit, which is a little bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Also, yeah. I didn't see where I stopped it. That was terrifying. I had to change the screen. So that wasn't much better. Really sorry, everyone. It's just a bad part of the video. Anyway, you cut out, so all your good points were lost. So start over from the beginning.
Where did I cut out from?
I'm sorry. I'm so distracted by Nicole. I can't. All right. Okay. All right. That's better.
Right. Where did I cut out from, people? Because Kristi can't fucking speak at the minute. She can't breathe, it seems. So.
I don't remember. They were probably talking about something else. All right. We have to get back on track. And is your sound dropped off again?
Oh, sorry. Hello.
Yep, you're back.
Yeah, back. Right. So where did I cut off from? Where did I need to speak from?
Don't remember. What were we saying? And I'll tell you when you. What was your topic again?
I was saying this was supposed to be about the glass ceiling and.
Oh right, and slipping and tripping.
Yeah, and I also realised not upon first viewing because I was so sort of incensed by it all, but that she's sort of doing a weird kind of almost mock black accent when she's in the rapping bits, which is really, really shit.
Cringe.
Yeah.
Just do your own thing, man. Do you. Don't steal.
But that also suggests that she can't fucking sing either, which is especially brilliant when you're making a music video. So.
Someone did in one of the reactions point out auto-tune at some point in the song, so that's all right. So now we get to go back and
but I'm less bothered by the auto-tune. I'm more bothered by the not just the Macarena, but the auto. If it was just auto-tune as an issue, I'd be like, okay, I can deal with that. But it's everything.
It's everything. All right, let's go.
Don't catch you climbing up, cause they'll get you slipping up. Hey, come on, this is America. We'll say North America.
Right to vote, really? I mean, is she saying North America, right? Is she saying right to vote? Right? These were timed. We have the right to vote. Why not bring up Saudi Arabia at that point?
Yeah. And then you can rhyme that with labia. So you can get
yes,
you can get a lyric out of that. Yeah, because again, this is like I said earlier, it's kind of white feminism. It's not just it's white feminism light, if you can imagine such a thing. It's just she's just throwing out things she thinks are vaguely woman related, I think. So I mean, you should
sorry, I get stunned by the awfulness occasionally, and I'm quiet.
Well, again, when you've got the lyrics like "Get a Mammo Ho," I don't think you can expect too much from any other part of it, frankly.
I mean, that's really kind of the high point is breast cancer awareness. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And my fantastic new series coming, the I don't know, just the abusive doctor.
And also, men can also have breast cancer. So, guys,
they can indeed. So get a mammy, bro. See, that rhymes. So she could have made it about the men's rights as well. Get a mammy, bro.
She could have put both in there.
Well, that's what these feminazis are like. They don't care about the bros and their tit cancer. So,
all right, we have to keep going.
Look how we living now. The boys could be tripping now. This is America. Got rape in my area. You got a drain? Yeah. The roofies got into your cuz. Hey, this is America. Don't catch you climbing up.
Really? Like a cat? Really?
Yeah, not just that, but having just mentioned rape and roofies, to have women spreading their legs like that is a little. No, not just a little. It's incredibly distasteful. Yeah.
And also, just like everything should mean something, and they should flow. You know, like there should be some. Yeah. Right. Moving on.
Don't get you climbing up, cause they'll get you hoeing up.
Hoeing up. They'll get you hoeing up.
Well, as long as you've got your mammy first, surely that's not a massive issue, is it?
They'll get you hoeing up. I've never hoed up. Even on nights where I was like, Vickers and Tarts kind of, costume.
Well, I would only hoe up if I were working on a farm. Oh, completely different meaning of the word hoe. Yes.
Ooh, nice Archer sort of audience niche joke there for
you. Exactly. Well, you know me, I only do the safe comedy, so.
Yes, that's what you're known for.
I'm a crowd pleaser.
That's what she said. All right, moving on.
I'ma go into this. Crew, what's your pick? You got an idea? Don't make it with that. I'm too old back. We're all too old back.
Yeah, and she's really making this her own. She's not totally stealing just dance moves,
Yeah, and it's like I say, it's the fact that it's so haphazardly being thrown out there. She clearly doesn't really care about these issues. And like I say, given all of the things she's actually said in like her video rant things in the past, she doesn't give a fuck about any of this.
And also, why not like sort of invert the stereotype here with how the women are dressed? Like that. This is basically, you could see this in any music video. So what is she saying here? I mean, she's got backup dancers that look indistinguishable from other sexy backup dancers.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, I'm thinking too much about this.
We're not allowed to age like this. What the fuck?
Oh God! But the thing is, this is obviously like the bit in the original video where it's essentially a sort of recreation of the Charleston shooting, and yet in this version of it, she's doing like a fucking knees up Mother Brown Cockney jig thing, which is again just horrifically offensive, just on every level.
And also she chose this moment to highlight the plight of cheerleaders, which, you know, fair enough. They get screwed over. I don't want to take anything away from them. But when you think about what people are expecting at this point, and then also how she references it by the way the women are lined up.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, that's the element of that video that's being sort of represented here or recreated here. And it's such a trivialization of that incredibly serious thing. And like you say, there's nothing like inherently wrong with raising the issue of, you know, the incredibly piss poor pay and indeed treatment that these women have in the jobs they've got. But like I say, by comparison, it's a mockery of it, frankly.
In the first bit, she could have made a reference to domestic violence, and here she could talk about like incel violence.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
if she wanted to show,
well, not just you know, domestic partner murders, which are very prevalent. That would be at least something akin to the initial or the original video's message at this point. But again, I mean, it would still be sort of theft, but at least it would be more appropriate theft. Which, I mean, imagine that this video's so shit. I'll just use the phrase "more appropriate theft." So there you go.
It would be less offensive.
Yeah, it would have been.
Okay, yeah,
it would have only been slightly offensive as opposed to this.
Massively offensive, right?
Yeah, you might as well be pissing on the corpses of Charleston.
Yeah, because if this would be an opportunity to talk about gendered forms of violence.
Yeah,
without a doubt. So, but you know, she mentions rape once, but you know, in terms of like roofie, but that's the only violence I can think of her mentioning if you don't include her reference to the Taliban fighters, the fighter ladies. So anyway, again, we're thinking about this far too much. I'm beginning play.
Yeah, we've thought about this far more than she did.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is America. Don't catch you shining now.
Shining? Is this some sort of colloquialism that I'm unaware of because I'm middle-aged? Just her making up a word going
skin or something, maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Again,
if
I think
anyone in the chat has ideas.
We're thinking about it far more than she did, and far more than it deserves, frankly. But there we go.
All right, onwards, forward. Motto of Wisconsin.
Don't catch you shining now. Look what you're doing now. Oh, this is America. Stop for the camera. Come on, girl, where's your teeth? That pill will take care of you.
I was so confused at that line at first.
Look at your teeth.
Girl, where's your teeth? And then that pill will take care of you. I was like, what happened to her teeth?
Yeah, I don't get that.
It's tied to the line about smile for the camera, and she's not smiling, right? And
so right. So it's like an antidepressant or something. Okay.
Yeah. And then, perhaps an anti-depression medication message there as well, which would be terrible.
Well, someone's just contacted me on Twitter and said that apparently shining is a colloquialism in certain parts of America for giving head to a man.
Well, okay, so, that seems more random than just shiny faces.
Yeah,
it would be a weird.
I don't know. Is she saying that? What don't I don't know? Do the groupie thing in order to try and give head to get ahead or whatever? You know, like it's yeah.
Well, I don't think that I don't know if that reading really works here. So we're just going to.
This works. This is shit. I mean, this really is awful. Like I felt like I want to do more of the stuff we did last time, like actually taking on really good pieces of art, and we will do that in the future, people. But
will we? Oh, that's okay. Cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah. The well, I probably should have
We're spitballing. We're doing show ideas and live
exactly,
on
Well,
air.
I was going to pitch this, behind the scenes, but fuck, because it would be nice as a change of pace from just talking about internet fluff. Yeah, but the juxtaposition of doing like a really great piece of art and exploring that to this, I mean, fucking hell, talking about dropping off a cliff. Oof.
Right. It's basically eating like a foodie for a week and then having to go and eat McDonald's. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, we are going to have we are going to have the shits tomorrow.
Emotionally, it kind of feels like we're having them right now. But all right, moving on. We're more than halfway through.
Emotionally, I feel like I'm cramped up on the floor, curled up in a ball.
A bit of Natalie Imbruglia, even.
Well, that is a reference for the kids, definitely.
Really dating myself there. All right, on with this nonsense.
Look how I'm spitting truth out. I'm so trendy.
She's not spitting truth out, by the way. Just want to clarify.
Well, and she's not trendy.
No, not that either.
Yeah, I wear Fendi. Yeah, I'm so sexy. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, watch me move. Yeah, these my titties. That's my tool.
Well, if she knows that's her titties, then she knows what part of her to get a Mammo Ho for. So that's...
it doesn't make sense, Kevin. She's complaining about the objectification of women, and then she's like, "These are my titties." Like, that's fine. Be body positive, but like,
she's not body positive because she's only famous for saying fat people were like degenerates, basically. So she's not body positive in the slightest. She's just a fucking prick. Ugh.
She could have said, "These are my elbows. These are my anything," and then pointed to her brain. But
You've got a broken elbow, bitch. That's my doctor again.
All right. We're getting close to the part that I think is the worst. Are
we talking tap dancing?
Oh, you said the word. You said the word. I couldn't. My jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, it's remarkable and breathtaking and disgusting, but it is remarkably. It's the only bit of the thing with the video where she actually shows that she has some skill at something. Look, she can tap dance. I'll give her that.
Well, I have a take on this.
Oh, for fuck's sake! She's got CGI legs.
Gosh, darn! You got two things right tonight. So
Nicole Arbour's legs were an inside job. Official.
All right, okay. Let's get on with this.
I'm being childish. This shit's fire. But you do though. Get a man, get a man, get a man. Make a fan, make a fan, make a fan. Oh, I gotta give up my dreams. Rather be the Taliban.
Now, I don't know if the line was meant to be rather beat the Taliban, which one could enunciate with a bit of practice.
Well, that's what she seems to be claiming on social media, in reference, obviously, to the female fighters of the Kurdish YPG, Peshmerga, which, I mean, they are absolutely feminist icons.
Amazing.
And the world owes not just them, but the whole of the Kurdish armed forces a debt of gratitude for helping destroy ISIS when the rest of the world dithered. But anyway, that's a different matter for a different time. But yeah, she doesn't enunciate, and so it's difficult to tell. I mean, from one end of the scale of absurdity to the other, the same with get a Mammo Ho and beat the Taliban. If you pronounce it properly and sing it properly, we'd be able to understand you, but you don't.
Yeah, another option there lyrically would have been the word fight. Then everyone would have known what she said. But anyway. Yeah. All right.
And also, it's not.
Your mic is sort of knocking about a bit, so just so you know, we can hear it clanging.
Oh, sorry. I was actually scratching the bass. That's what she said. No. Also, I think it's worth mentioning that the Kurdish fighters. Thank you. The Kurdish fighters aren't fighting the Taliban either, so she's got that just fundamentally wrong. That's a different war. The Taliban are in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But anyway, that's the least of the problems with this is geographical / socio-political nonsense. Anyway. Oh,
now we're to the part where she explains what we just told you about. So.
I'm not sure everyone's gonna get the Taliban line. I was referencing the female fighters who've been kicking the Taliban's butt, and then I wouldn't want to be.
Yeah, but they had, like I said, they haven't been kicking the Taliban's butt. That's a different war.
Yep.
I know it's difficult. It's difficult to keep up with which war America is involved in at any given time, but
right. But
yeah,
Google works.
Well, they're killing vaguely brown people, so that'll do. Taliban, whatever.
All right. So this is my take here is that one, it could be a reference to the fact that tap dancing, there have been a lot of amazing African-American tap dancers, and especially when musicals and in movies were big. Or, and I think this is more accurate, she actually wanted to do some sort of legitimate dance, but the only thing she knows is when she was like a suburban white girl and her parents took her to tap class. And so this is her dusting off her like 8th grade tap skills.
That's why, well, that was the interpretation I got, was that she knew how to tap dance and thought, well, I'll just incorporate that into the thing. I'll just do that. Yeah. And also, just realised as well, she in the original, we talked about the importance visually of the battered cars and the kind of low-grade cars, where she seems to have quite nice cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it's not the most important thing or the most despicable element of this video, but it's worth noting.
It's a straight up poor copy.
Yeah.
Missing the point. All right, so.
1, 2, 3, get down.
When this kicked off, like you say, jaw on the ground. Like it was, I wasn't looking into a mirror, but if I was, I imagine it was like the Looney Tunes thing where the eyes pop out of the character's head and the jaw literally smashes into the floor. I just thought, I cannot believe she's doing this right now. It's so spectacularly poorly judged on every level.
I just feel like this bit should be clipped out as a reference for like something that really bombs.
Yeah.
You might want to throw that into the manosphere, routine there. Your stock clips.
Well, I might do that, Kristi. Yes. Thank you. It's always good to get editorial advice. That's
what I'm here for, peer review.
God, you even managed to make that geeky. I love it. Love it.
We have less than a minute to go. Come on, we can power through this.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so. Oh my God. No.
It's so.
Oh, and check out this. Check out this couple who has no idea what to do at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so bad.
In this world, you're just a ballless girl.
You're a ballless girl. Really? That was the best. That was the best she could come up with.
Yeah. I mean, just yeah. I can't. I've got nothing to say. I've got nothing to say, but just to show utter disgust.
Let's get through this so we can have a serious conversation.
If it's strong, love or ambition is wrong. No one believes you. Just stop trying. You're a bitch, but you're weak if you're crying.
All right. Can I stop sharing now?
Yeah. Please do.
Is everyone depressed?
Yeah. Like I say, if a comet were to smash into Earth, I could only think to myself, that would be justice at this point, I think. I think humanity was a grave error on, let's pick one at random, on Vishnu's part. There we go.
There you go. Spread around the theism.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Equal opportunity theist referencer.
Exactly, yeah. Because I don't just say Jesus Christ. I occasionally say Allahu Akbar really loudly on the bus, and people look at me weird. I don't understand why. There we go.
Gee, I wonder why. All right. No, well, that took way too long. I was hoping that we could knock that out in 20 minutes. That did not happen.
Yeah,
but I did lose. I also, by the way, when I went quiet the second time, that was because I was trying so hard not to be laughing because you were making a serious point, but I was still.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Taliban. I was trying to explain the kind of geopolitical significance of the Taliban, and therefore it wasn't in Syria, so she completely bollocks that bit of it up, and you were just laughing because I'd
about a joke you said earlier.
Yeah, I think did I do with that? That's what she said line or something.
I think it was.
Oh yeah, I'm scratching the bass. That's what she said. Yeah,
yeah.
It's a good line. That's a quality line.
The thing is, I know your mic, so I know what you're doing. But the content. All right. So anyway, coming back into the end of this video. Yes, let's wrap this up and then move along and have what the conversation I've been wanting to have since we've gone on air. So, but we only have about 15 minutes left. So we might go a little bit long tonight.
Well, let's just say we've seen that piece of shit and actually just move on. Let's not even bother wrapping it up. Let's just pretend like that didn't happen.
Like the negative wonders of the world, you know, you can tick that one off your bucket list. Seen that.
Like, well, imagine it this way. You know, when they were sending out that probe into space and they put like all the great pieces of art on it.
Yes.
This is like the antimatter version of that.
This is the warning to stay away from Earth. Yeah,
exactly. Like, that's what we should do. We shouldn't be wanting to attract aliens to Earth. So we should put out like that and the Stuck in the Closet song by R. Kelly and various other pieces of utter garbage, and just put that out there, and then aliens will go, oh, there's no intelligent life on that planet.
Let's stay well clear of that.
Yeah.
This is the best they can do.
Or just a clip of Donald Trump's best speeches.
Oh, that would definitely, yeah.
Or that might make them think, actually, we can take these fuckers. These are
They're idiots.
These
are the leaders.
Anyway, right. So that's enough of that bollocks. Let's actually talk about something vaguely serious, shall we?
Right, and that was. I've seen a lot of takes on this, and the conversation that I was most focused on, at least the motivation for my response videos, is an increasing awareness that of my role as a white person in addressing the inequalities and the injustices I see in American society. And to be honest, a lot of that comes from being on YouTube and being in a community of people, a much more diverse community that I've ever been a member of before, and hearing people I know talk about issues that matter to them in very personal ways. And I think even, so we would say like well-meaning white people. Most of the time when I think about white people talking about racism, it's always the wrong people talking about it. And I was probably, you know, I've been, theoretically in favor of social justice, racial justice all of my life, but it was always from like the polite white way of being because of where I grew up and how I was socialized. And mostly it's just not talked about, or it doesn't happen here because I don't see it. And hearing all of the stories, and also I'm living in a very interesting time where online, digitally, you can meet people from across the country that you never would have in your normal life. And as a consequence, I've been educated, and this is what I want to say, like, when white people need to talk about racial issues, people who care about racial justice, it's not enough to be supportive.
Yeah.
You have to kind of step up in whatever way that means for you. If that means occasionally sharing stuff on Facebook and having conversations, starting conversations, or if it means, you know, doing stuff in your community, getting more involved in racial justice, or whatever it is. But it's not it's not fair to ask black people to do all the work and just sit by on the sides and say, yes, we agree with you. But when racists are shouting at them, we don't step up. When, you know, when things happen and we see it's wrong and we don't want to get involved, when you see a moral wrong, you have an obligation, I think, to try to do something. And, you know, I watched, I can't remember his name. His first name is Hari. His last name I only heard like for the first time recently, but he's got this great comedy bit on Netflix. And he's calling out white liberals. He's talking about an experience he had in a coffee shop where a guy asked him, where are you from? He says, I'm from some part of the States. I think it may be New York. He said, no, but where are you really from? He's like, I'm from the United States. Where are your parents from? Right? Because he came from India.
Right.
And the conversation ended up sort of escalating when he came back and said, I don't really appreciate that question, and it's kind of a rude question, and those two started to have a fight, and he said, all the white people suddenly were very interested in their phones, but afterwards they'd come up and be like, Hari, are you okay? I just want I support you, I'm here for you. Like, where were you 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
And that story hit me, and seeing more coverage of Black people who are playing golf and have the police called on them, or having coffee or waiting for a friend at Starbucks, sitting like I do a lot of times and just standing there and use the Wi-Fi for 10 minutes because I've got time to kill before my train, right?
Did you manage to? Sorry,
yeah.
Did you manage to catch my video on that? Because I put out a thing about the
yes,
being arrested while Black thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The one in Oakland with the barbecue, and the woman at Yale who was arrested for daring to be asleep in a common room
in her own.
Yeah,
at her own university.
That's what annoyed me about that, is that Black people are always condescended to and told that they have to behave a certain way in order to be accepted by white society. And this woman had done all of that to the point where she was fucking postgraduate studies at Yale, right? So pretty fucking prestigious stuff. And yet she was still treated like a second-class citizen because she dared to be asleep. Therefore, and what threat are you when you're asleep? Like, literally, you pose nobody any threat when you're asleep. And yet she still had the police called on her. And it's, ridiculous.
And mostly what it involves is first listening. Not defensive listening, just listening to people's stories, listening to what hurts them, listen to their frustrations, and try to understand the points they're trying to make. And, it's not that difficult to see systematic oppression when you know what to look for, because you don't experience it. So the people who do help by pointing it out, and then you can see it too, and then calling it what it is. And I think the other thing too, that I know this is from studies, that white people don't want to bring up, from experimental studies, they don't want to bring up race because they feel embarrassed, right? But people who are not white, who are being systematically oppressed, are experiencing oppression, right? Yeah. So our emotional discomfort, hearing about things, is not proportional to the amount of suffering people have to endure so that we don't have to talk about something.
Yeah, and not just that, but actually it's really negative for white kids as well. Because when white parents show, like you say, discomfort or whatever with talking about race, that actually signals to the child that there's something odd or peculiar going on there. And the child becomes worried. And then it starts to associate race with anxiety. And whilst you will always associate to some degree with, like, oh, I'm this colour, therefore that person of the same colour is no threat. That's just like an innate thing, apparently. When you see someone of a different colour, you get those emotional recalls in your head, or in your subconscious, I suppose, to the feeling of anxiety or stress based on race. And so actually it leads to more racism in society, bizarrely.
Right. A very bad positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I just, and all the videos being made about Nicole Arbour, most of them, I can't think of one that didn't bring up the problem with her basically taking what is a video about racial oppression and violence, racialized violence, or the experience of a society that isn't solving the problems of violence, and took it into her world and made it about her issues, which are primarily white issues. And this is how I think, unfortunately, people who want to talk about race try to wrongly empathize, right? They're trying to find maybe I'm taking a very charitable reading here, but when you bring up your own oppression when someone's talking about their own oppression, you've just changed the conversation. You haven't necessarily made an emotional connection. A better thing to say would be, that sounds awful. Tell me more, and what can I do to help?
And I think that, I think it is a charitable interpretation, because given the quote-unquote clarification thing that she put out on, I saw it on Twitter, but I presume on all of her platforms, and it was under the video, she put it under later, didn't she? That she wanted everyone to do their version of the video to discuss stuff from their point of view. So basically, she wants to totally drown out the point of the initial video. But she said, like, she tried to pay homage to it and be like, oh, it's one of the most powerful works in recent times. Well, why are you trying to overshadow it and completely drown it out in a sea of self-obsessed bullshit?
The other thing I saw a lot of people saying is, I like the idea that she's going for, right? You take something and you find a way to use the same inspiration to critique another form of oppression, right? So a lot of people were like, I really like the idea of doing this with other groups, but the way you did it, Nicole, was terrible. And so it's not even so much that, she took feminist issues and tried to co-opt it, which is exactly what she did. Like, people aren't objecting to that in principle, but they want it done well. They want it done thoughtfully. They want it done in a way that builds on or expands or changes or transforms the original so that it becomes its own thing, but takes inspiration from people using art to express that condition.
Well, I take objection to it just on the basis that she clearly doesn't believe that these are particular problems, because she's shown herself to be an anti-feminist dick in the past. Like, she's not interested in any of that. And she, like I said, she's not body positive. So even the expressions of, objectification or whatever aren't in any way a positive, even a badly judged positive. It's just put out there for the sake of putting it out there because she just wants to be famous.
Before we move on, I kind of did my little monologue on
I was trying not to interrupt
things. Yeah, but I wanted to know if you had what your take is on that, because obviously I'm coming to this pretty late in life, but also it's a function of my geography and things, where I actually had an opportunity to get exposed to these kinds of ideas and arguments. So on your own take, and also your take on white people who don't feel comfortable talking about race or racism.
It's a lot different in Britain, I have to say. I think we are more comfortable talking about race than a lot of people are in America. And I think part of that comes down to the fact that, we didn't have a particularly big slave population here in Britain at all. Whereas obviously the fact that African Americans are in America is because they were taken there as slaves. We didn't have like the Jim Crow era laws. Not to say there weren't oppressions. Of course there were oppressions, but it's not the same dynamic. There isn't the same resentment, and so there isn't quite the same stigma. Not to say there isn't uncomfortable elements to it, and that the same things that you said there about white people listening and trying to help don't apply, but they're very different here. It's like I'm fascinated by how the dynamics of race work in America, because it's an alien planet to me. It seems so peculiarly different.
And I think also, and this isn't an original idea with me, but in observing it, when you talk about sort of like people of color in the United States and white people in the United States, there's a particular sore spot when it comes to black and white relations because of that history of slavery. So I think it is harder for white Americans, I would say, to talk about black and white racial problems than probably other, like, people who are from India, like a Nikki Haley or a Bobby Jindal. I think less so probably also, with people who are Chinese or come from other areas in East Asia. I think that because of the original sin, because of slavery, there is this real wound that lingers and especially seems to persist over time with black and white Americans. Because, if you think about so many people who were immigrants, right, who were brought to this country, were able to make it up into the middle class and prosper, regardless of their background. But African Americans were set so far back that even though they were in America for generations, they haven't really prospered. And that has been the source that continued social and economic and political marginalization, because it was systematically perpetuated through government and people in power. It's especially insidious.
Well, exactly, because you've got things. You got elements like the fact that you know, the GI Bill didn't apply to even the black people that served in the Second World War. You had like I said, Jim Crow era laws which literally held black people back, and that doesn't just go away overnight. And that's, like I said, that's a dynamic that doesn't really exist here.
So yeah, I think it's I'm heartened that I hear more white voices bringing up these issues, but honestly, we could all do more, you know, and I'm hoping that in addition to focusing on more news issues when they come up, and not just, you know, negative stuff, but positives too, like you said, you know, the This Is America, and also gonna, you know, like Earworm, the Vox series Earworm. I feel like a jerk because I can't remember the name of the host, and she's amazing, but she's totally nerdy about like hip hop, and she's getting me into it. She's got great videos, and so yeah, I think I want to try to be better and be best, not
Be
just
best.
be better,
Be
and
best.
in being a voice, basically voicing the things that I already think. I need to put down on video more often is pretty much what my resolution is.
Well, I think that's a very admirable and achievable goal.
Oh, okay. So that is, wow, we actually did manage to natter on about this for an hour. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about race relations in America, or talking about race, racism, social justice?
No, not really. I think we've covered, well, we haven't really covered that much, just because we've mainly talked about shit.
We have.
But even so, I think we've done the hour and we've said our piece. And yeah, may you all now go in peace to love and serve. Let's choose another one.
Someone's an Anglican, or used to be an Anglican.
No. This is I was a Catholic. How dare you?
Oh, right.
So let's just go with
right, at the end. Yeah.
Let's just go with Yahweh. Love and praise Yahweh. Allah be praised. Because technically those are the same creature. Anyway, what was going to say? Totally. Yeah, I was a Catholic. I was a Catholic altar server when I was a young kid. I was an altar boy.
You got to see the magic from behind the.
Yes, and thankfully I didn't get raped by a priest, which unfortunately can't be said for all of the kids in Birmingham at the time. So, yay. And on that incredibly depressing bombshell.
Yeah, good way to bum everybody out, Kevin.
Well, I didn't do the fucking institutional rape of children in my religion. Jesus.
True. I agree. I'm not blaming you for that. Just the timing.
Well, yes, you are. You were saying that I did it. I heard you. Everyone heard you.
How do I bring this back? Damn you. Hey, is there anything in the chat before we go?
So anyway, what about this Israel-Palestine schmozzle?
Yeah, let's go for something much lighter.
Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, is there anything in the chat? Well, yeah, I don't think so. There's just people talking. Who cares?
By the way, Kevin, if you haven't, you should go back to my channel and you should watch the chat on our video on This Is America, because there are some very clever people in the chat who say some very worthwhile things. So that video, definitely, you should not just watch the video, you should make an effort to follow along with the chat. They're lovely people and they have some very interesting ideas.
No, the people in the chat are morons. Jesus. They're all just the peasants.
If they were sausages, they'd be the worst.
Well, in Germany, certainly, yes.
Quite.
Yes, they were. I love watching the chat. I love having a go at the chat and then watching as they react. It's so much fun for me. And I realised,
Senpai, notice me.
And I realised that I probably lose subscribers because people don't get the joke necessarily.
Like, who's this jerk?
Yeah, this guy's a fucking prick. Unsubbed. Never mind.
Right, I think that's a safe distance now from the last landmine you dropped.
So heroin overdose and child rape. Those are on
the whiteboard of things you can't talk about during the hangout.
Those are the two biggies from today. That'll do.
A little whiteboard reference for the God Awful Movies fans in the room.
Oh, did you have to bring it down by mentioning that? No, I'm only joking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're done. We're just fucking rambling now. This is just.
No, you're rambling. I'm waiting for you to finish so I can do the wrap up.
Well, do the wrap up then.
Right, everyone. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate that you guys stopped by, especially those of you in the chat who came by.
No.
Usual abuse from Kevin.
I don't appreciate that you stopped by. Fuck you.
If you like this content, you can always support me on my Patreon or buy me a coffee. There are links for that. I got student loan, guys. I'm like broke and it just went up. So anyway, I'm shilling a little bit. If you like this content, you can support me a little bit, throw a little tip in there. Otherwise, all that is left to be said is that I have been Kristi and slightly giggly at that. Kevin has been a very naughty boy at times. People in the chat, you're awesome. People in the future watching this are also awesome. And then it's just to say goodbye from me and goodbye from the wanker. Say goodbye, wanker.
Goodbye, wanker.
Bye, guys.